This book is amazing. Anyway. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Manal Talks Books. I'm Manal and let's talk books. Today I'm reviewing a book that I read this summer. The book is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Look at the cover, it's gorgeous. If you have to judge a book by its cover, it's this book because the cover is amazing and the story is amazing. This was such an unexpected read, but in the best way possible. This book is like no other fantasy that I have ever read. I'm gonna tell you all about why this book is truly unique, even though it's about magic and fantasy and it's YA fantasy. You will think that you've read this before, but you have no idea. So without further ado, let's just get into it, okay? I'm gonna put it down, but I'm gonna pick it up sometimes because I need you to like still see this cover. Oh, by the way, about the cover. There is a young Black woman on the cover. And it's gorgeous and amazing. You don't see that often. This book deals with very important themes, such as racism and discrimination, generational trauma, rape, grief, belonging. This book is heavy. It might sound like just another fantasy, but this book is heavy, so be warned. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the synopsis. So we follow our main character. Our main character is named Bree Matthews. And literally in the first chapter, her mom dies. So she is hit with this incredible shock and trauma right off the bat. And she is very young. She's 16 or 17. So she decides to, instead of dealing with her grief, honestly, she decides to leave for this residential program for bright young students at this university. She goes to UNC. Oh, I think it's North Carolina because it's UNC. On her first night there, honestly, she witnesses a magical attack where there's this demon trying to suck the energy from humans. And then she also witnesses these Legendborns, a group of young kids that are descended from Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And they're fighting this demon. And she basically learns that there's this secret society that is meant to fight the demons and protect the school. After witnessing that, she somehow gets involved with this society and she becomes friends with some of the people. But she also finds out while she's at this school that she has her own magic. And her magic comes from a different source. It comes from her roots, her ancestors. But she has to hide the magic. These Legendborns who think they're so special because they have this magic and they're descended from the white colonials. And then you have Bree, a young woman who has magic from her ancestors who were slaves. I saw a review on Goodread from a person from Bookish Realm. And she said, she pointed out that dichotomy about like the white people having magic and being like Legendborns, and then the Black people who had to hide their magic throughout the centuries. What I love the most about this book is that even though it's about magic and legends, it hits very close to home. It is very real. And especially after the 2 years we've had of civil unrest in the US and throughout the world, honestly, and with the Black Lives Matter movement and all of that, you will see that Tracy Deonn doesn't shy away from the truth. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She isn't afraid to portray scenes of microaggressions and racism. And there were so many moments where I just wanted to reach into the book and punch someone. For example, Bree is a smart young woman, and she got into the school on her own merit. And people will literally say to her, oh, it was affirmative action, or if it wasn't for affirmative action, the rage. And there was this scene where she was in a cop car, and this police officer was so condescending. And what I love about this is that Tracy portrays racism as it really is, because a lot of people think that racism is overt. And although it can be, most of the time, racism is very subtle. And if you're not the target, you might not even notice it. Sometimes it's just subtle enough that if you don't live it, you don't really know it. This book is amazing. I could honestly just sit here for 15 minutes and tell you this book is amazing over and over and over again. I want to point out also that there's a lot of diversity character-wise, not only because there are Black people and our protagonist is a Black woman. Also, there are a lot of queer characters and queer relationships. As for the world building, there is a lot of history and a lot about Black history, which is super important because the South of the US is very rich in history, tragic history, horrible history, but history nonetheless. There's a lot to say, a lot about the university, about North Carolina in general, and about just the enslavement of Black people from like the 1600s to the 1800s. One thing that I realized about this book is that Bree learns that her magic comes from her people, her ancestors. To me, that means your history can also give you power. It's something that you need to know, you need to accept, and you need to use. The people who came before you are what make you and what give you power, literally. This book is amazing. Anyway, now for the plot, there are a lot of plot points and a lot of themes, but it's not messy at all. Everything is developed super well. The pace is good. It's not slow. It's not too fast. There's a little romance in there for the suckers like me. I feel like if you love Merlin, if you love the Mortal Instruments, if you love history, this is the book for you. So that was it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more videos, consider subscribing. That's all I had to say. I mean, this was a very quick review, and I don't feel like it had a lot in it, but I really don't want to spoil anything, and I just mainly wanted to talk about how this book was just hard-hitting and so good. I'll see you next week. Have a good day.